In the heart of Paris, where the streets glowed under golden streetlights and cafes overflowed with laughter, Adrian Keller lived a life everyone envied. A decorated detective for Interpol, sharp in mind and fearless in action, Adrian had built his reputation across Europe. Criminals whispered his name in fear, colleagues respected him, and the city trusted him. But behind the uniform and the cold eyes of a detective was a man deeply in love. His wife, Isabella, was his world. A painter from Florence, she carried with her the colors of Italy in every brushstroke. She was gentle, beautiful, and to Adrian, she was the only place where his tired heart could rest. Every night after long chases across European borders, Adrian would return to their Parisian apartment, filled with her art, her perfume, and her laughter. To outsiders, they were the perfect European couple, strength and beauty, courage and elegance. Friends envied their chemistry. Neighbors admired their bond. Adrian often thought, "I fight criminals by day, but at night, Isabella fights away my loneliness." But beneath the surface of wine glasses clinking in candle-lit dinners and love notes tucked into his coat pocket, a slow betrayal was brewing. Adrian noticed Isabella's eyes no longer sparkled for him. Her smile was painted, not real. She spent late nights painting in her studio, but Adrian sometimes heard whispers on the phone, hurried footsteps, and doors shutting too quickly. Still, he refused to believe the worst. He told himself, "She's an artist. Artists live in another world. Maybe I'm just imagining things." But destiny has a cruel way of tearing illusions apart. One evening, while returning early from a mission in Berlin, Adrian found the truth he had been running from. In his own home, under the golden Parisian lights, Isabella was not alone. A stranger's coat was hanging on the chair. Voices whispered in the bedroom. And when Adrian pushed open the door, his heart froze. Isabella was in the arms of another man. The woman he trusted more than anyone in the world had betrayed him. And just like that, the perfect Parisian life shattered like glass. Adrian did not explode in anger. He did not draw his gun or shout like a betrayed husband in a movie. No, he froze. His heart, his breath, his entire world stood still. For a man who had faced gunfire, bombs, and murderers without fear, nothing had ever felt as terrifying as the sight before him. Isabella's golden hair fell loosely on her shoulders, her lips still wet with a kiss that wasn't his. The man beside her, sleek suit, expensive watch, smug grin, didn't even flinch at being caught. He simply raised a glass of wine as if mocking Adrian's entire existence. "Adrian," Isabella stuttered, covering herself with the bedsheet. "You weren't supposed to be home this early." Those words stabbed deeper than the betrayal itself. Not supposed to be home this early? She wasn't ashamed of what she was doing. She was only shocked at being caught. Adrian clenched his fists. His mind screamed to act, but his body refused. He turned around and walked out, the sound of Isabella calling his name fading into the hollow silence of the night. For weeks, Adrian disappeared into his own darkness. He worked missions mechanically, chasing criminals across Europe, but inside he was hollow. His colleagues noticed his silence at the bar after operations, the way he refused to laugh, the way his eyes looked older every day. At night, in his Parisian apartment now emptied of color, Adrian would stare at the canvas Isabella had left behind, a half-finished painting of them together by the Seine. Each brushstroke mocked him. Each color reminded him of a lie. He thought about burning it, but instead he left it hanging as a reminder of what love had done to him. Meanwhile, Isabella and her new lover thrived. They traveled from Milan to Vienna, hosting art shows, sipping champagne, appearing in glossy magazines. For them, Adrian was nothing more than a shadow, an old chapter, but shadows grow darker in silence. Adrian's pain slowly mutated into something else: anger, hunger, fire. He stopped looking at her as his wife and started seeing her as a case of betrayal that required justice. One night, standing by the Seine, he whispered to himself, "Love made me weak. Revenge will make me strong." And from that moment, Adrian Keller was no longer just a detective. He was a man on a personal mission. Months later, Isabella and her lover arrived in Rome for their grandest exhibition yet. Posters of Isabella's art adorned the streets, and critics praised her bravery for leaving behind her old life. To the world, she was a symbol of freedom. To Adrian, she was the face of betrayal. Adrian had followed their every move. From Milan's galleries to Vienna's auctions, he tracked them quietly, never revealing himself. He wasn't just watching, he was preparing. The lover, the Milanese art dealer named Lorenzo, wasn't just a thief of hearts. He was also laundering money through fake art sales, smuggling stolen pieces across Europe. Adrian collected evidence piece by piece, his detective skills sharper than ever. If love had blinded him once, revenge now gave him perfect clarity. The night of the exhibition arrived. The Palazzo Venezia in Rome shimmered with wealth and power. Guests in elegant gowns and tailored suits filled the hall. Chandeliers glowed like constellations. At the center of it all stood Isabella, radiant in a crimson dress, her smile dazzling as she leaned on Lorenzo's arm. But Adrian was there too, dressed in black, moving like a shadow through the crowd. His heart pounded, but not from love, from purpose. When Isabella unveiled her centerpiece painting, ironically named Faithfulness, the crowd erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. Lorenzo raised his glass in triumph. Then, the lights flickered. Darkness swallowed the hall for a moment. Gasps filled the air. And when the lights returned, Lorenzo was no longer standing proud. He was on the floor, Italian police pinning his arms behind his back. Adrian had arranged everything. The evidence of Lorenzo's crimes had been delivered to Interpol and Italian authorities weeks earlier. Tonight was the night they struck. The crowd erupted in chaos, whispers spreading like wildfire. Isabella's smile collapsed, her eyes wide with terror as she watched her lover dragged away in disgrace. And then she saw him, Adrian. Standing at the edge of the stage, arms crossed, his gaze fixed on her. His face was unreadable, no rage, no pain, only cold justice. Isabella trembled. "Adrian, why are you doing this?" she whispered, her voice cracking under the weight of her shame. Adrian stepped forward, his voice calm but sharp enough to cut through the noise of the hall. "Love blinded me, Isabella. I gave you my soul and you shattered it. But betrayal gave me new eyes. And now I see you for what you truly are." Tears spilled down her cheeks. She tried to reach out, but Adrian stepped back. The distance between them was no longer physical. It was eternal. Without another word, he turned and walked away, his silhouette disappearing into the Roman night. Isabella collapsed on the stage, surrounded not by admiration, but by whispers of pity and scorn. Outside, Adrian walked past the ruins of the Colosseum, the ancient stones bathed in moonlight. For the first time in months, he felt no chains pulling at his heart. No love, no pain, just freedom. Not the freedom of forgiveness, not the peace of forgetting, but the quiet, powerful freedom of justice served. And as he melted into the crowd of Rome, Adrian knew one thing. The detective was back. Not for Isabella, not for love, but for himself.